All right, so we're doing. I think this is the. No, this won't be the fifth. This will be like the sixth interview or so that I've done for this show. I guess if you count the one I did with CoolCat001100, but I'm not using that one for the show because we had too many errors. But anyway, my guest today, I did an interview with him for his own show a couple years back, and now he is joining me for my show. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, Jimmy Davis here, and I guess that's how people will recognize me best with that intro. It's almost become like a meme, almost like a little meme on Twitter or whatever. It's kind of interesting to see happen. But yeah, I'm assuming I haven't really watched your show just because I think it's still fairly new, right?
Yeah, I've only had a few episodes out. I'm working on the fourth. It started as like a show that I did for my internship, and now it's kind of evolved into. Think of it, it's like a mini YTP collab with like an interview mixed in.
Okay, so I wouldn't need to introduce myself as a pooper because people would already know that, or are you do more?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of introduce yourself as a pooper, but as the show progresses, I think people get the general idea of like I'll mostly be interviewing, YouTube poopers.
All right.
One other thing I would like to mention too is that I am still doing this for my school's channel, so I do have to say just keep it a little bit clean. A few swears is fine, like I'll just censor it or whatever, but just try not to make every other word you say like the F word.
Okay, I'll try.
But I know I think you're pretty good at that.
Yeah, I typically don't swear much in conversation, except for when it's like just me and my brother hanging out. We'll do that just to kind of mess with each other, whatever. But usually I don't tend to swear too much because I actually never swore at all up until just like a few years ago. Like even certain words like hell and damn were too far for my vocabulary around that time. So it's still fairly new to me.
Speaking of your brother, I should actually see if he'd be interested. But I've already got a couple of guests lined up for the coming weeks. I'm actually going to be doing, just give everyone a sneak peek of what's to come. I'm going to be doing an interview with Master of Zoroark, Jallerbo, Dmitry Petrov, Biodegradable. I think I'm doing Isaiah the Vargas. I think that's all I can think of off the top. Oh, and P. Carlson,
Okay, so you're the new Poopcast then.
if you can call it that. Although my format's a bit different. I mean, the unscripted versions of these are pretty similar to Poopcast, but the edited versions, like the 10-minute syndicated show of Why Not, is formatted very differently. When I first thought of the show, it was kind of like I envisioned like Eric Andre meets like YouTube poop.
Okay.
You're gonna see like it'll start with some serious questions and then it's gonna slowly derail into some nonsensical questions.
Well, those are always the best. So
But anyway, to sip of my water. So let's get right into the questions. All right, so we've already established who you are, what you do on YouTube, which is, you make YouTube poops.
hmm
Would you like to at least describe, like, your style of pooping?
basically, I would describe my style as just ripping off of everybody else who's good. It's kind of a mixture of a lot of different things. I tend to focus a lot more nowadays on like more story-based CDI type stuff, although I don't like to consider myself a CDI pooper just because I don't like to box myself into a corner like that. I like to be able to branch out and do whatever I want. That tends to be what I enjoy most nowadays. But I do otherwise tend to do like a lot of reference-based jokes, more jokey than trippy, surreal type of editing. Although I do want to kind of try my hand at that eventually. Oh, there's a train going by. I might pick up on the recording. Might want to wait
Oh,
just
I can hear the train.
yeah.
That's staying in the actual show, too. That's being added.
I think anybody who listened to Poopcast will appreciate the train cameo.
Train! It's like Stand By Me, or the Family Guy parody.
I haven't seen either, so
Oh, that's a shame. You should at least see the Family Guy parody, which is pretty funny. You've been making YouTube poops since about, like, what, 2015?
2014. It was
2014.
yeah, I think I might have only made one in 2014, one or two in 2014. It was like late 2014, October 2014, and then 2015 was kind of when I really got going, I guess.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I saw any of your videos was in Young J97's collab.
Yeah, that was where I got my start in YTP. I did have one YouTube poop from I think like 2013 that I had uploaded onto my old channel, but I only had it up for like a week before I took it down because it was on my old channel. Like I think my most viewed video on that channel is like 5,000 views, and so this YouTube poop that I uploaded within like a week, it already got like 200 views and a couple of likes and whatever, and I didn't want that to become a YouTube poop channel, so I deleted it from there, and I never uploaded it as its own video on my current channel, but you can see it in a couple of my videos that are like compilations of scrapped and unreleased projects and stuff like that.
So you've had an old channel. So how long have you been active on YouTube as a whole, though?
I started in October 2008.
Ah, so you've been around, for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been around. Like I even before I started making YouTube hoops, I used to make just like short like stupid videos on like a. Remember flip cams? Remember when that was a thing?
Very vaguely, yes, I do.
It was like a trendy thing for like a year or 2 years, and then I think that was back in like 2009 to 2011. Like they were a thing, and then I think people only bought them because the quality was slightly better than cell phone videos at the time. But once like Apple came out with like an iPhone with a better camera, everyone just stopped buying flip cams.
Yeah, yeah. I think I don't have an iPhone anymore, but like I have like a Google Pixel, and like the camera on there, I think is probably better. Like the second or third feature on the phone, the camera is probably better than my actual camcorder that I bought for, I think it was like $300 or $400 back in 2011. I still use it occasionally, but it's at this point I just tend to use my cell phone because it's a much more convenient, much better quality camera.
So I mentioned the flip cam thing is just because I used to make dumb videos with my flip cam back like 2009 or like 2010 around that time, and then I didn't really start doing YouTube videos again until I opened up my current channel. I actually opened up Goop videos on like in like 2012 and then just did nothing with it, and then I uploaded like a few like experimental videos on like a school project in 2014, which I've since taken down, and then I uploaded my first official YouTube poop in like January of 2015.
Okay. Well, I guess I didn't realize that I had technically started before you. I always thought of you as like before me. So
Where did the name Jimmy Davis come from? Because I think you've said that that's not your real name.
right, yeah, that's a character name that me and my friend back in I think it was 2009. It was January 2009. We created this show called Jimmy and Johnny, and this was like 2009 YouTube. So basically, we were ripping off of Fred in a lot of ways, like with the over the top energetic. Like I think originally we were going to be like 5-year-olds, and I think I was even going to like speed up the footage, but I only had Windows Movie Maker at the time and a really terrible camera that couldn't. Like if you you can still watch Jimmy and Johnny on YouTube, but like the really early stuff, the audio quality is so terrible you couldn't hear anything. So speeding it up would have just made it even worse. But anyway, so that the character name Jimmy and Johnny, I think that was just because that's kind of a generic kid duo name, like Jimmy and Johnny or Timmy and Tommy, like that type of thing. And eventually, when we were gonna make a movie, we were gonna make a parody of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, and we actually got I think like 45 minutes worth of the movie filmed, but we weren't even close to finished with it. But when we were making that, we decided we should give these characters last names, and my friend Jeffrey, who was Johnny, came up with his own character's last name, and then I came up with mine, which was Davis, which was because of Jimmy Davis is like Jim Davis, who is a creator of Garfield, and Garfield was like I still read every single new Garfield comic as they're being made,
Oh
and
wow,
yeah,
dedicated fan,
oh yeah,
like Nation of Oranges.
oh I'm a bigger fan, trust me.
Oh boy. Oh well, I just want to say, Nation of Oranges, you're being challenged here as the bigger Garfield fan.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again just in case some people have didn't hear it or forgot about it. But literally, what I used to do is growing up, we didn't live near a library. We had like a mobile library. Basically, it was like a Greyhound passenger bus or whatever that was converted into like a mobile library. They'd come through every week, and every time they'd come through my small town, I would get all the Garfield comic books they had there, and then read them all within like a day. And then for like the next 6 days before the bookmobile, as it was called, before it came back into town, I would read the Garfield comics backwards. Sometimes, or I had a few different methods of reading them. Sometimes I'd read them backwards, like the panels backwards, or
So
the
you do the manga style.
yeah, I guess
It's
so.
like reading right to left instead of left to right.
Right. Or like in a couple of cases, I would actually like read every single word backwards in the sentences, or like the way they're layered. They're like two comics on top of each other. So I'd read like the first panel from the top comic, the second panel from the bottom comic, and then the third panel from the first one again, and just basically every way you could think of to read a Garfield comic book, I've read them.
Well, that's interesting. So basically, Jimmy Davis is derived from partially from the creator of Garfield and also a series you did years ago.
Right. And then when I created the channel, Jimmy Davis, I wasn't expecting to continue it. I just kind of had an idea for a YouTube poop that I wanted to make, and my brother, a guy that loves pooping, didn't want me to upload a poop to his channel because I originally wanted to just kind of co-own his channel, essentially, like upload every once in a while on his channel. So when I created the channel, I just went with Jimmy Davis because I think at that time you couldn't just put a single word for your username. You had to put like a first and last name or whatever. So I just went with Jimmy Davis, and I thought about changing it at one point, but at this point it is what it is. I'll just keep it as is.
Well, that's great. I think it was the right choice to go with just opening your own channel because now you're where you are today.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, I was gonna skip over this question, but what's your favorite TV show?
Um, that's a really tough thing to choose. I typically my favorite TV show is just whatever the most recent TV show that I watched that I really liked was. So like the most recent TV show that I binge watched was Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I really really liked that show.
That's interesting because me and my friends have been like talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine a lot recently. So
It's very similar to. I mean, it's better, but it's like in terms of the comedy, I think it's similar to the show Psych. Have you ever seen or heard of that show?
I haven't seen Psych. I have like heard about it though. I heard because I know Quentin Reviews mentioned it in one of his videos. I think.
Yeah, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is definitely a much funnier, better made show, but like the in terms of the writing style and like the main character, I think they're both very similar in both shows. Because that was my immediately reminded me of Psych when I watched it, and Psych was like my favorite show before I found Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
So it's basically whatever you're watching now.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, cool. So now, before we get to Twitter questions, this is just like the flagship question that I just like to ask everyone. So, what's the most embarrassing thing to happen to you?
To happen to me or that I did, because that might be a different answer.
Oof. Well, yeah. I've never had that happen to me. God. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like something that happened to you or something you did. I always usually get like the most embarrassing thing that I've done kind of questions. So you know what? Give me both. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done and the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you?
Okay. I'll have to try to think about that. I'll try to come up with something quick and not take too much time. But I guess the thing about most embarrassing thing I've done, probably actually the thing I'm probably the most embarrassed by is my Poopcast episode with Hoffy 1138, because I mean that's kind of one of the contributing factors as to why Poopcast kind of went away and hasn't come back, because I realized in doing that show that I'm just kind of a dick and not very funny, definitely very socially awkward. And when we recorded that episode, I was very very tired, and so it's just painful to try to listen to because I'm just I'm just being an asshole basically. And I thought about just not even. I mean, I did talk to Hoffy afterwards, and he's fine with it. He's not like upset or whatever. And I don't think there was anything like incredibly horrible that like I should wipe from the internet before I get canceled or anything. It's just kind of me being a dick and not being funny, and it's bad. But yeah, that would be the most embarrassing thing I've done, I would say.
I don't think I've watched that whole episode all the way through. Admittedly, I kind of stopped watching Poopcasts like not long after we did our interview. It's nothing against you. I'm actually not really a podcast person, which is surprising considering I've been doing all these interviews. You know, I've been doing interviews because I've been cutting them down to like 5 to 10 minutes, but I like to upload the full interviews anyway because sometimes you do get some funny moments with some uncut footage, so I always like to just have it for archival purposes.
Yeah, and I think if Poopcast ever does come back, I think that would be the type of thing I'd want to do because, we recorded the one episode with Sonic XD, and that one, like the actual episode, it's like 4 hours long because we didn't have a set time limit. We just kind of talked for as long as we had a conversation, and that was a very, very long episode. And then he did like an edited version, like I think it's 20 minutes long, so it's still pretty long, but it's considerably shorter than the actual episode. But he uploaded that to his channel, and that's 100 times better than our actual full podcast. So I feel like that would be what would happen, I think, if Poopcast ever came back.
All right, well then we'll leave it at that just because I want to move on. But it was a good answer. Definitely one of the more sane, embarrassing moments. I'll just say that. Definitely not as bad as Emperor Lemon puking all over his desk.
I mean, I'm sure there probably are some much more embarrassing moments that I'm just not, my brain's just blocking out right now because they're like the type of thing that you just want to
They're
keep
just
yourself.
that embarrassing.
Exactly, yes. Every day of my life, there's a new embarrassing moment, basically.
I think we all have a more embarrassing moment, but it's like too much to even admit to it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But still, good answer, and I admire your honesty. As if it is honesty, but
oh, yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Is.
We'll never know.
Oh, you can tell if you just listen to that episode. I don't recommend it, but yeah, that's pretty bad.
Anyway, we're gonna get to the Twitter questions. So I just would like to say we're not gonna get to all the Twitter questions. We had over 36. Yeah, 36. These were just like the best questions in my opinion. So we're gonna do those, and then I had spoken to Jimmy before we had started the episode. He may go back to the original post and like answer everyone's questions, or he might do a separate video. We're not sure yet, but if we didn't get to your question now, hopefully we'll get to it later. But let's get started. First one I got is from Dr. Guest, and he asks, would you rather let 5 people die by a moving trolley or intervene and have it kill only one person?
Depends on the people. No, I've kind of thought about the trolley problem. I've thought about it, and I've looked into it. I think I don't know if you watch Vsauce like at all, but like he had YouTube Premium show Minefield. He did like a whole episode on that, and basically like no matter what you answer, your answer might very well be different if you're put in a real life situation. So, wait, did I mishear that? Did he say it kill one person, or you intervene and kill 5?
Yeah, it's basically the trolley is headed for 5 people, but you can make it swerve out of the way, but it would still kill one person. So it's like you kill one person as opposed to killing 5 people.
Right. Yeah, I just thought for a second that he reversed the number of people because that's usually it's like you cause more death by not intervening, but when you intervene, you take responsibility for the one death, basically. I feel like I would go with the intervening and causing less death, but like I said, if put in a real life situation like that, I don't know if I would act that way.
No one wants to be the quote unquote hero in that situation because you're not really a hero at all. You're just kind of like preventing less death.
Right. And
it's like it sounds like the worst superhero ever. It's like the guy that just prevents less death.
It's the lesser of two evils. That's a superhero name.
Captain America. My power is I choose between the lesser of two evils.
He is Captain America then.
Yep. But anyway, so we're gonna move on. Next question. So this one comes from Santa Flame. I think that's how you pronounce it. So why do you shave off all your hair once a year?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No,
Was it just that one time?
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years now since I did that, and that was the first time I shaved my hair since 2009.
Oh, wow. So have you since gotten a haircut or like, trimmed your beard or whatever?
No, because I'm doing for anyone not following me on Twitter, I'm doing every week. I'm posting a weekly, every Friday, a weekly update picture of what my hair growth looks like, and then by the 2 year mark, which is I think July 25th, something like that, I'll be doing a time lapse video because I'm taking a picture more or less every day. I'm missing some days. I think it's totaling out to about like 4 pictures in a week or something like that, and I'll do a time lapse. But I've only shaved my hair and beard the one time recently. Last time I shaved my hair, I didn't even have any facial hair. But basically the reason why I did it then was just because I didn't have a reason not to. I guess essentially, I kind of wanted to try something new. Figure this would probably be the last time that I would be able to choose to be bald, if you know what I mean. Like I have a few older brothers who are like in their 30s and they're going bald already, so I trimmed my mustache a few times, but I haven't trimmed it now in a few months because I just decided to kind of try to style it, because if you've never had a mustache before, it gets very annoying when you're trying to eat anything. Anything you eat gets in your mustache. So, but I figure if I let it grow longer and then just kind of style it, it'll probably, hopefully, take care of that issue.
Yeah, I tried growing out like a mustache. Like I've got kind of like a shaggy like chin goatee going on, but I shaved off the mustache because it just got too annoying. But I can never grow like a full beard. It's mostly just a goatee for me. So you don't shave every year. It was just that one time.
Right.
All right, cool. So we're gonna go to the next one. So this one comes from Shin Orange Pika. Sometimes I really wonder where people come up with these names. It's I'm not making fun of anyone, but it's like it's just bizarre. I mean, then again, it's like where did I come up with Goop videos? In
Have you ever
fact,
answered that question?
I think I mean, I don't know if you would ask me that, but basically it was just something that just kind of popped into my head one day. It was like, "Oh, I need a name for this channel. Goop videos, that works." Like it just popped into my head and then that was that.
Do you have any regrets of going with that name? Have you ever thought about
No,
changing it, or?
no, I think it's a great name. So now to answer this person's question, Shin Orange Pika, what do you think of 15.ai? Do you think it harms or helps YTP creators by making sentence mixing obsolete?
So that's like the voice generator thing, right? Like the SpongeBob thing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of TikTok videos where they're like, it basically sentence mixes for you.
Yeah, I don't see how that I feel like that's a completely separate thing. I don't view those as being one and the same. I mean, I feel like there could definitely be some crossover, and I think like whenever like from this point on, whenever somebody has like a really good SpongeBob sentence mix, people will probably just assume that it's the AI voice generator thing or whatever. But I don't see how that could have any major effect on sentence mixing. But then again, I can't see into the future, so who knows?
Yeah, I kind of went on like a tangent on Twitter where I just said I'm cool with this, but I at least hope that people will still try to sentence mix because I'm sure that like this 15.ai thing can only get you so far. It's like you're probably still going to have to sentence mix like for a particular source. Like I'm sure that it can't just work with anything.
I think I've never personally used it, but I'm pretty sure that like if you type in a word, basically like regardless of context, that word's going to sound more or less the same with every voice generator, or with every, I don't know what you call it, every time you use it, it's going to come back sounding more or less the same. Whereas with sentence mixing, I feel like a big appeal to sentence mixing is the tone of the voice that you get. Like if you have, well, I just did a Twitter thing, like a JonTron thing, where it was from the plug and play thing, where he says, "Finally, a game for me," and I sentence mix it so it's "Finally, I'm gay," and just like the intensity and excitement that's in his voice, I think makes
Right,
it
you can actually get a lot like funnier results that way.
right. Exactly. Some people really like the choppy sound that you get for certain sentence
Yeah, I
mixing.
I always love that too, and I know that some people aren't really fond of like leaving the video clip attached to the audio, but sometimes that could be pretty funny just to see like the video just jump back and forth like that with the sentence mix.
Yeah. So I guess just kind of going back to what I said before, I feel like they're separate things. I think I enjoy the the AI stuff that I've seen, but I don't view it as being a competitor to sentence mixing.
No, I don't think it'll be the sentence mix killer, but I think for future SpongeBob poops, people will probably start using it a lot more often. In fact, I thought about redoing some scenes from like Skellington's Revenge, like the SpongeBob sentence mix parts, and like doing it in 15.ai. But the site's been down because it's under maintenance, so I haven't had a chance to do it yet. But the next few ones are kind of short. So the next one comes from R8M, and he asks, "What is your favorite old school video game that isn't Nintendo or Sega?"
I don't know if I have an answer for that. I think it depends on what you would define as old school.
I guess you could say like old school PlayStation, maybe
Maybe, yeah. Yeah,
like the '90s.
yeah, 'cause I mean, like I was just thinking the other day, the GameCube is almost 2 decades old, so for some people that could almost be old school. But I guess if we're talking like PlayStation era and back as being old school, favorite one that isn't Sega or Nintendo, probably Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, then if we're allowing for PlayStation games.
Yeah, good choice. I mean, I think the GameCube and PlayStation 2 and all that stuff is old enough to the point where we can consider it retro now.
Some people might take issue with that, but I don't think many people would take issue with considering PlayStation old school.
I think it's getting to the point where it's old school. I mean, the GameCube's only about as old as I am. Like, I was born in '99. I think it came out in like 2001. So I guess to consider something retro, like when the Angry Video Game Nerd first came out, like the NES was like a year away from its 20th anniversary. So like I guess to consider something retro, it has to be at least 2 decades. So yeah, I would say Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 qualifies as a retro game.
hmm
So the next question comes from CM3 and Knuckles, and he asks, "Are you secretly Jesus?"
Oh, that's not a secret. That's just a fact.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at you. You're literally Jesus Christ.
Yeah, or Santa Claus, depending on who you ask.
Or Santa Claus. You'd
yeah.
have to have a white beard.
Yeah, I'm a young Santa Claus, who is Jesus. So yeah, we're one and the same. All three
Santa
of us.
is Jesus.
Yep.
Some conspiracy theorists claim that Santa may be Jesus.
Oh, he could be.
He could very well be.
hmm
So the next one comes from what? What is this guy? This guy's name is the Impregnable Emporium.
Oh, that's
what?
a good name.
That is a great name.
That
It's
would be a
hilarious.
great YTP name, like a YTP channel.
The Impregnable Emporium. It's like kind of hard to say, but that's just because I'm just bad at pronunciation. But anyway, he asked, "Why did my wife leave me?"
That's on you. You're either not trying hard enough today, or you tried too hard when she became your wife, and you were never meant to be in the first place.
I'm gonna play the more you know sound effect after that.
That'll work. Or I just don't know you or your wife, so it could be it's probably more complicated than that.
Or just play the pink guy sound effect. Why did you leave me? The next one comes from Buzznut33, and he asks, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?"
Either dead or masturbating. I read that question in advance, and I came up with that answer in advance.
Well, that's good, but I'm gonna keep that for the uncensored.
Yeah,
is there any way?
I figured you wouldn't keep that in the short version.
If you would like to give an alternative answer, that would be cool too.
I guess hopefully more or less the same place I'm in right now. Maybe like some of the worst aspects currently. Maybe hopefully a little bit better, but hopefully I'm still making and enjoying making YTPs, and I haven't turned everybody against me. I guess that's the end goal for my channel, I suppose, and especially just 5 years from now.
All right. Well, good answer. I don't know if I'll use that in the the abridged episode, but I'm still keeping the funny answer because it was funny. Anyway, the next one comes from DboV Gaming, and he asks, assuming it's a he, it's hard to tell when their profile picture is just like a gaming controller.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming someone's gender. I'll have you know I identify as a Super Nintendo dog bone controller. But anyway, he asks, is your beard sentient?
It told me to tell you no.
Good answer.
All right. I just imagine sentient beard. That just reminds me of Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. I
Yeah,
wish
with
my
the squid beard.
yeah, I wish my beard could do that.
All right, so the next one comes from True Quart. Yeah, True Quart. And they ask, who are your greatest influences?
My for the start of my channel, the three main influences I had were at the time Things One, True to Mark, and Hoffy 1138. And I would still consider them to be pretty big influences for my channel, but I've kind of branched out, and basically anybody that I watch and enjoy, I would consider to be an influence. So like NP Carlson, Jollerbo, Nintendo 64. Yeah, just basically anybody that I watch and enjoy, I see them do something that I like, and I'm like, I want to do that, and so I essentially try to incorporate some of what they have into my work, and I don't know if I do it very good or not, but that tends to be the way that I operate.
So it's basically you just kind of you absorb what you observe.
Basically, yes. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
That's a very fun thing to say, by the way. Absorb what you observe.
Yeah. Did you just come up with that now, or is that a thing that I've just never heard before?
I'm sure it's been said before, but I guess if not, then I am the proprietor of that statement and I own all merchandising rights.
I want to buy that on a shirt.
You know what? I'm gonna make that shirt now. So
All right.
you observe. Yep, you absorb what you observe.
That's it. Yes.
That'd be cool. I'll have like Goop videos on the front, and then on the back it could say like, absorb what you observe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll buy it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But I'll have to keep that in mind. The next one comes from Isaiah the Vargas, and he asks, have you actually played the CDI games?
I haven't, but I would definitely not pass up the opportunity to do that. I would prefer to play it on like real hardware, because I'm sure I could emulate it pretty easily, but I would much rather, if I was going to play it, I'd want the full experience. Because I know I'm not going to enjoy it, but I would at least enjoy being able to say that I played it on the real hardware.
I'm sure it's probably not any easier to play it on an emulator, but I'm sure that you could at least like make your own control scheme a bit better, like if you were to do it on a mouse and keyboard. But yeah, if you really want the full like torture experience of playing the CDI games, you should, if you get the chance, definitely play it on a CDI. I myself haven't actually played it on a CDI, although I have played a demo of it like on an emulator at a friend's house once, because he was like, hey Ben, I know you're into YouTube poops. Well, I actually got the CDI game on my computer. I'm like, great, now I gotta play it.
That'd be fun to get an emulator and like remap the controllers to mouse and keyboard, and then like sentence mix the tutorials to like be talking about like using the mouse and keyboard rather than button 1, button 2, and whatever.
There was an old YouTube poop from Timote LSD called Reverse Cowgirl with a CDI. It's like you could mod the game and have Link say, move the controller down and you can make me fuck a duck.
I've
like a boss.
I've seen that thumbnail and that title many times, but for one reason or another, I've just never actually watched it. But I think I've heard that quote before.
This one is Ugly Barnacle 58. He recently had his Twitter account suspended, I think. So he's under a different name, but he asks, have you played... So, we've already established you haven't played the CDI games, so I'm assuming you haven't played the I Am Mean sequel either.
I haven't, but I saw that question. I'm assuming he just means, like, am I aware of it?
I didn't even know there was an I Am Mean sequel.
Yeah, it's, I forget what it's called now, but it's, like, it's super... I think it's Chill Manor is what it's called. It's very short. It's... I Am Mean only, like, makes a little cameo in the end. There's just, like, an opening like music number. The animation is clearly downgraded from the already not very good I Am Mean animation. And then there's just that opening song and then like 2 different ending cutscenes. So I think they're not very widely used in YTP, but they do exist, and I do have the backgrounds, audio, and GIFs downloaded. I've just never found a good way to use them in a YTP, but I do plan on using it. I haven't played it either, just in case he literally just means have I played it. I haven't played I Am Mean or Chill Manor.
Well, I guess again, if you get the chance, definitely do. I haven't played I Am Mean either, Was it ever released on the CDI or was it just a PC exclusive?
It was a PC game. I think there might have been like a Sega CD version. I think I saw something about that, or like a scrapped Sega CD version. But as far as I'm aware, it was only on the PC. So I I, I would imagine if you had like a computer that could run older games, you could still play it today. Wouldn't have to get like a $300 or $400 CDI, whatever they go for.
Yeah, I would. I'm not into buying a CDI for that kind of money.
Yeah, I think.
Considering the CDI's library is extremely mediocre. I mean, even though the Nintendo games aren't really that good, at least I think they definitely have a little bit more to offer
Right.
than the rest of the CDI games.
The one thing though that I recommend this whenever I get the chance, definitely highly recommend the Tetris CDI soundtrack. Like it's legitimately a great. It has very like almost vaporwave type of vibe to it, but it's not quite that. It's almost like well, vaporwave is kind of trying to emulate the like essentially the feel of like 90s or whatever, and Tetris CDI is kind of like raw vaporwave, I guess I would describe it. It's legitimately really good, and you can find it on YouTube.
Neat. All right, so we got two questions left. I don't know how to. Okay, Nigh 7. I
Hmm.
guess it's supposed to be like night, but like nigh to the 7th. Like, I guess, yeah,
Yeah.
nigh 7. All right, so they ask generic question: what's your overall favorite video like that you've made?
My favorite video that I've made. It changes every once in a while because I always try to, obviously, always try to make a better video than the previous one. So it changes from time to time. I'd say right now, probably Link the Boy, the movie, the trailer, the poop. I think that is probably my favorite, but that's probably mostly just because that's one of my more recent ones and probably the most recent one that I've put like a ton of work into. I think that was like that was like all of last summer was making that poop.
I loved that poop too. It was a great video.
I'm really happy with how that turned out, and a lot of people seem to really enjoy it too. So that was nice. I was a bit concerned because it's for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's like a parody of the Sonic, the movie trailer, but with Zelda CDI characters and I am mean and whatever. And I was a bit concerned because originally I just intended that to be like like a shit post basically that I'd make like in a weekend or a week or whatever, and it ended up taking me. It wasn't just because I was working on it for that long. Like my computer did die on me during last summer, so I had like a month and a half without my computer. But it was a lot more work than I anticipated, and I was concerned people weren't going to care about it because by then the Sonic trailer was irrelevant. They'd already announced a redesign and all that stuff, but people still seem to enjoy it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. But anyway, so we got one question left, and this one comes from Capture Point, and he asks, "What's your favorite running gag in your YouTube poops?"
I guess the only one that really exists right now in my channel is the har 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 funny stuff, my dude thing, which was originally from what did I even call that one? I forget what I called it, but it was the Ron Popeil thing that it was me, a guy that loves pooping, Master Josh into things, did the collab last year. It was originally Harkinian in that poop said it, and then I had Guanum say it in my Ask Reddit parody, and then I used it again in the Link the Boy, the movie, the trailer, the poop. Like I said, I think that's probably the only running gag I have going right now.
I remember Milk Money used to be a running gag on your channel.
Yeah, I got rid of that one after about a year because I kind of stole that one actually because there was I think it's Super Suck 64. I mean it's not really theft, but like Super Suck 64 did a poop of Larry Boy and the Rumor Weed, and when one of the characters says Milk Money, he just added like a picture of the poster or the DVD cover, whatever, and
Right. I remember that. That was in the Young J collab.
yep. And I started doing it just because I think that might have been where I became aware of Milk Money even existing. And so I was doing another VeggieTales YTP and they mentioned Milk Money, so I referenced Milk Money, the movie, and that just became a running gag. And I retired it officially with Larry Man 3, or Larry Man 2, twice, I mean, not 3. I'm not doing a Larry Man 3, or at least I don't have plans to.
It would be cool though. I'll just throw that out there, but you don't have to. I mean, coming from the fact that people still ask me to make Despicable Meme 3, I definitely feel like. Do you get a lot of comments that's like, where's Larry Man 3?
Oh yeah, no, I still, even though Larry Man Twice was, I think that's already been 3 years now, and I still get people. That was my most recent VeggieTales YTP, and I still get people asking when I'm going to make more VeggieTales poops and when I'm going to make Larry Man 3 and all that. And I have no intentions of doing any more VeggieTales or Larry Boy stuff. I do have one VeggieTales thing planned out. Me and a guy that loves pooping are going to do an intentionally really really dirty VeggieTales collab that I'm going to age restrict on upload, just to kind of, because when I made Larry Man Twice, I think it was kind of like one of the last videos that I did before I started adding like explicit sex jokes and profanity and stuff like that in my poops. So I think it'd be fun to just make like a very very dirty VeggieTales poop.
Yeah, I remember Jallerbo recently uploaded that VeggieTales poop with some dirty jokes. It seems like because VeggieTales poops really became more prominent around like the middle of the last decade. Like before then, I had only really seen like a handful, but then once Young J97 came around, like I started seeing a lot more of them.
Yeah, I think Young J97 is. I think he gets the credit for creating the VeggieTales boom in YouTube poop, because I think before then there were only like three VeggieTales YTPs that were like of any
Like semi popular.
right. Yeah, there weren't many. I don't even think I could find any that were even like not very popular other than those three.
It also seems like a lot of people never really went too overboard with VeggieTales. Like they never really filled them with a lot of sex jokes. So, like they weren't necessarily super clean a lot of the times, but it seemed like a lot of people kind of tried to keep it in good taste. And that's something I actually tried to do because I did a short YouTube poop of Josh and the Big Wall, and I kind of intentionally didn't add any swearing or like any like profane jokes or anything like that. And I think that just had to do with I wasn't like comfortable with it. I was like, this is like my childhood, like, and it's so innocent. Like I almost feel dirty like filling it with sex jokes, but I was like, I still wanted to do a YouTube poop of it anyway, so I was like, I'll just try to keep it as clean as I can.
I think with me, like the main reason I kept it clean is because that was, I mean, for me at the time, that was edgy humor for me. What I was doing, like I think some people kind of get the idea that I used to censor my videos and now I don't. But the truth is that I've never censored any of my videos before. I've never censored myself. It's just my sense of humor has changed. I only started swearing, like 3 years ago or whatever. And so the reason why there wasn't like profanity and like explicit sex jokes in my earlier stuff is because I didn't make those kind of jokes anywhere else. So I would make jokes in my older stuff that I considered really edgy at the time. That's kind of tame compared to now, just because of my sense of humor shift.
Cool. Well, that's all the time we have for today. And remember,
I made you special.
and Goop loves you very much.
Yes,
Yes.
because I am Jesus.
And yeah, because you are God. You are Jesus Christ.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all we got for today, folks. So good night, everybody.